Ladies and gentlemen, in relationships, we often behave like we're in a 100-meter race. We want replies fast, commitment fast, clarity fast, everything on express delivery. But life doesn't work that way. Relationships definitely don't. You see, when you chase people, they don't see your love, they see your desperation. But when you value yourself, focus on your growth, stand tall in your dignity, suddenly the same people who ignored you start wondering, where did you go? Today, I want to share something very simple yet deeply powerful. Let him come to you, not out of ego, not out of games, but out of self-respect, self-worth, and self-understanding. Because love flows beautifully when it is freely chosen, not when it is constantly demanded. My dear friends, have you ever seen a butterfly? The more you chase it, the more it flies away. But the moment you sit silently in the garden, it comes and sits right on your shoulder. People are exactly like that butterfly. When you run after someone, calling again and again, texting again and again, trying to prove your worth, you don't appear more loving, you appear less valuable. Why? Because the most powerful people in the world are not the ones who chase, but the ones who choose. And the moment you start chasing, you unknowingly send a message: you are more important than me. I need you more than you need me. My happiness lies in your hands. My friends, that is not love. That is emotional slavery. Let me share a small story. Once a young man came to me and said, "Sir, I love this girl so much. I message her every morning. Every evening, I reply instantly. I do everything for her, but she doesn't value me." I asked him one question. If a shopkeeper keeps giving you discounts every day, do you value the product or do you take it for granted? He said, "We take it for granted." I told him, exactly. When you make yourself too available, too accessible, too easy, people start seeing you like that discounted item. Always there, always waiting, always ready. You may think you're showing love, but they see you as someone who has no self-respect, someone who cannot live without them, someone who has forgotten their own worth. And here is the painful truth: people rarely value what they don't have to earn. If they didn't have to put in any effort to win your attention, your time, your loyalty, they won't put any effort to keep you either. But the moment you stop chasing, something magical happens. They start wondering, where did he go? Why is she not messaging? Was I losing someone who actually cared? Suddenly, your value is restored, not because you changed anything, but because you changed your behavior. You see, my friends, love is not lost when you take a step back. Love is lost when you lose yourself in the process of trying to keep someone else. So never chase. Don't run behind attention. Don't beg for someone's time. Don't fight for a spot in someone's life. Stay still, stay calm, stay dignified, and let the right people walk toward you because they recognize your value, not because you ran to convince them. Because the moment you chase, you lose value. But the moment you choose yourself, the world begins to value you more. My friends, in life, people don't fall in love with the one who tries the hardest. They fall in love with the one who respects themselves. Self-respect is not arrogance. It is not ego. It is not saying, "I don't need anyone." It is simply saying, "I won't lose myself just to keep someone else." People are naturally drawn to those who carry themselves with dignity. Someone who knows their worth doesn't need to beg for attention, doesn't need to chase conversations, doesn't need to prove their value. There is a quiet strength in a person who can say, "I care for you, but I care for myself too. And that strength is incredibly attractive. Imagine two people. One is always available, day and night, rushing every time the phone vibrates, replying instantly even when the other person takes hours or days. The other person is calm, focused on their life, working on their growth, living with purpose, who seems more appealing. Of course, the one who is centered, composed, and grounded. Why? Because self-respect builds an aura around you, an energy that says, I know who I am complete. I don't need to cling. When you respect yourself, you automatically create boundaries. You don't allow disrespectful behavior. You don't tolerate half-hearted effort. You don't accept being an option. You teach people how to treat you, not through arguments, not through explanations, but through the standards you set for yourself. And the right person will rise to meet those standards. The wrong person will fall away. That is the beauty of self-respect. It naturally filters your life. I've seen so many people suffer because they think the more they sacrifice their dignity, the more they'll be loved. But love doesn't work that way. When you sacrifice your self-worth, people don't see your loyalty. They see your weakness. When you stop respecting yourself, others follow your example. You become someone they can cancel, ignore, delay, or manipulate because you've shown them you will accept anything just to keep them. But the moment you reclaim your self-respect, everything shifts. The same person who used to reply late will start replying faster. The same person who treated you casually will start noticing your absence. The same person who took you for granted will begin putting in effort. Why? Because they can sense your energy changing. You're no longer the version of yourself who would settle for crumbs. You don't have to shout, treat me better. You simply have to treat yourself better. Self-respect silently communicates what words cannot. And when someone sees you loving yourself, valuing your time, protecting your peace, they feel inspired to win your presence. They treat you more kindly, more thoughtfully, more sincerely. Not because they fear losing you, but because they now understand your presence is not free, your heart is not cheap, your time is not unlimited. So, let him come to you not from a place of ego, but from a place of self-worth, because the world moves toward people who move toward themselves first. The one who respects themselves becomes someone everyone else naturally respects, and the one who values themselves becomes someone others feel blessed to be around. When two people care for each other, the biggest gift they can give is space. But sadly, most of us fear space. We think if we stop calling, the connection will break. If we stop texting, they'll forget us. If we step back, they'll step away forever. But my friends, healthy relationships are not afraid of silence, and strong bonds do not dissolve in distance. In fact, space is where clarity blossoms. When you constantly stay in someone's face, constantly trying to keep their attention, constantly trying to make them respond, you don't give them the time or emotional room to actually think about you. Imagine holding a bird too tightly. The tighter you grip it, the more desperate it becomes to fly away. But if you open your hands gently, that same bird may choose to stay. People are the same. The more pressure you create, the more they look for an escape. The more freedom you give, the more they naturally want to return. I've seen this in so many relationships. One person keeps calling, keeps worrying, keeps asking, "What's wrong? Why are you distant? Why aren't you replying?" And the other person feels suffocated, not because they don't care, but because they have no breathing room to understand their own feelings. Sometimes the heart needs silence to speak. Sometimes the mind needs distance to see clearly. Sometimes two people need space to understand whether the connection is true love or just a habit, whether the bond is genuinely meaningful or just emotional dependency. Giving space is not abandoning someone, it is respecting their emotional process. It is saying, I trust you enough to give you freedom. I trust myself enough to not lose my value. When you step back, the other person finally gets a moment to think, or do I miss them? Or do I feel their absence? Or is my life better with them or without them? Were they the one putting effort in this relationship while I was taking it easy? These questions only arise in silence, never in noise. And here is the most beautiful part: space reveals intentions more honestly than words. If someone truly cares, the distance will pull them closer. They will reach out. They will wonder where you went. They will check on you. They will feel your absence. They will realize your importance, not because you reminded them every day, but because your presence had value and your silence amplified it. But if someone doesn't care, if their interest was shallow, if their feelings were temporary, then space will expose that too. They will not come forward. They will not notice your absence. They will not feel the need to reconnect. And though it hurts, it actually saves you from wasting your energy on someone who never intended to stay. Giving space is an act of courage. It requires faith, maturity, and emotional strength. It means you're strong enough to step back without falling apart. It means you're emotionally intelligent enough to allow the other person to process their feelings. It means you're wise enough to understand that love grows when it has room to breathe. So let space do its work. Let silence speak for you. Let distance reveal the truth. The right person will use the space to move closer. The wrong person will use it to walk away. Either way, you win because you gain clarity. You stop guessing. You stop chasing. You stop overthinking. Space gives you the answers your anxiety never will. Remember, what is meant for you will not run away because you stepped back for a moment. But what is not meant for you will not stay even if you hold it tightly with both hands. Space doesn't break real connections, it strengthens them. It clears the fog. It exposes the truth. And it teaches you one of the most important lessons. Real love doesn't need constant reminders, it just needs room to breathe. Silence, my friends, is one of the most misunderstood powers in human relationships. Many people think silence means weakness, disinterest, or defeat. But in reality, silence is often the strongest response you can give when someone's actions are loud enough. Not every message deserves a reply. Not every behavior deserves attention. Not every situation deserves your energy. Silence is not what happens when you have nothing to say. Silence is what happens when you finally decide what is worth saying. Think about it. When a person keeps testing your patience, when someone keeps giving mixed signals, when someone talks but never shows effort, what will arguing do? What will over-explaining change? What will constant messaging achieve? Sometimes your words become noise to someone who isn't ready to listen. But your silence, that becomes an earthquake. It shakes their assumptions. It forces them to sit with their conscience. It makes them face the reality they were avoiding. Let me tell you something. Profound silence is not passive. It is deeply active. It is a choice. It is a message. It is a mirror. It makes the other person see themselves clearly. Without your explanations, without your reactions, without your emotional cushioning, silence shows them the consequences of their actions in a way that words never can. Imagine someone who always replies late. You keep waiting, refreshing the chat, retyping your message. Then one day, instead of double texting, instead of asking, "Are you busy?" you simply choose silence. Suddenly, they start wondering, why isn't he texting? Did she lose interest? Is he okay? Did I push too far? Your silence becomes a question they have to answer. It creates a vacuum that forces reflection. You didn't punish them. You didn't complain. You didn't start a fight, but your silence disrupted their pattern. Silence also protects your dignity. When you respond to disrespect with more words, you often end up defending yourself, explaining yourself, or trying to win someone's approval. But when you respond with silence, you are saying, "My peace is more important than this argument. My self-respect is more important than proving a point. I will not lower my standards for temporary emotions." And the beauty of silence is this: it reveals priorities. If someone values you, your silence will make them reach out. They will check on you. They will notice your absence. They will feel something is missing. They will make an effort, not because you pressured them, but because they genuinely care. But if someone does not value you, your silence will be easy for them to ignore. They will not ask where you went. They will not feel your absence. They will simply continue with their life unchanged. And although it stings, that clarity is priceless. Silence becomes a filter that separates the ones who truly care from the ones who only enjoyed your availability. Silence is also a form of emotional discipline. It means you are not reacting impulsively. You are not operating from insecurity. You are not trying to control the situation. You are grounded. You are stable. You are choosing peace over panic, wisdom over impulse. Silence allows you to think clearly. Is this person worth my effort? Am I giving too much? Is this connection healthy? Am I losing myself? In silence, we hear our own hearts more clearly. And remember, silence is not the absence of communication. Silence is communication. Powerful communication, mature communication. It says, "I am choosing not to participate in this drama." It says, "I will not reward inconsistency with more effort." It says, "If you want me, you know where to find me." It says, "I'm not afraid to walk away from what disturbs my peace." When you master silence, you become unshakable. You stop reacting to every small thing. You stop giving your energy to people who don't deserve it. You stop chasing answers from people who don't respect your emotions. Silence teaches you patience, self-control, and confidence. And the right person, the one who truly cares, will never be threatened by your silence. They will understand it. They will honor it. They will come forward with clarity. Silence doesn't push the right people away. It brings them closer. So remember, silence is not empty. It is full of meaning. It is full of strength. It is full of truth. Sometimes the loudest thing you can say is nothing at all. When someone's words sound sweet, comforting, promising, it's natural to believe them. We all want to trust what we hear. We want to believe the good intentions, the kind gestures, and the hopeful plans someone speaks into our lives. But my friends, words are the easiest thing in the world to give. They cost nothing. They require no commitment. They demand no responsibility. That's why in life, and especially in relationships, you must learn to stop listening only to what people say and start observing what people do. Anyone can say, "I'm thinking of you," but do they show up when you need them? Anyone can say, "I'll be there," but do they actually arrive, or do they make excuses? Anyone can say, "I care about you," but do their actions match that care? Anyone can say, "I want you," But do they make an effort to keep you? My friends, words are like leaves on a tree. They flutter, they fall, they change with the seasons. But actions are the roots. They stay, they support, they hold steady no matter what the weather brings. You cannot build a future on leaves. You build a future on roots. When someone tells you they care, but their actions are distant, believe the actions. When someone tells you they love you, but they disappear when you need them, believe the actions. When someone says you mean a lot to them, but they put zero effort into the relationship, believe the actions. Let me share a small story. A young woman once told me, he always says he's busy. He tells me he cares, but he rarely calls. He says I'm important, but I don't feel important. I asked her, if a restaurant says it serves amazing food, but every time you go, the plates are empty, will you still believe the menu? She laughed and said, of course not. I told her, then don't believe someone's words if their actions are empty. We often get trapped in a cycle where the words someone gives us become more meaningful than the reality they show us. We cling to what we want to hear instead of accepting what we need to see. The truth is simple: people make time for what matters. They put effort into what they value. They show up for who they care about. No one is too busy to send a message. No one is too occupied to make a small call. When someone wants you, even the smallest gestures become consistent. And it works the other way too. When someone is not genuinely invested, they will always be busy, always confused, always inconsistent. Their actions will be unpredictable. Their presence will be unstable. Their intentions will feel unclear. And no matter how many sweet words they give you, your heart will feel unsafe, anxious, and uncertain. That feeling is not paranoia, it is intuition. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is learning to judge people not by their promises, but by their patterns. Promises can come and go. Patterns never lie. If someone truly wants you, you won't have to keep reminding them. You won't have to beg for time. You won't have to chase effort. They will come forward on their own. They will make space for you in their world without you asking. Their consistency will make you feel secure. Their presence will feel peaceful. Their actions will speak louder than any "I care" message ever could. And here is the beauty of it. When you stop believing words alone, you stop getting hurt by illusions. You stop investing in empty relationships. You stop holding on to false hope. You start seeing clearly who is real and who is simply convenient. You begin to value yourself enough to say, if your actions don't match your words mean nothing. Actions tell you who is meant to stay. Actions tell you who is willing to choose you. Actions tell you who is ready for something real. So my friends, let people talk. Let them say whatever they want. Listen politely, but watch carefully. Because the people who truly want you won't just speak, they will show. They won't just promise, they will prove. They won't just appear occasionally. They will choose you consistently. And that little consistency will give you more peace than 1,000 poetic messages ever could. When people hear the phrase, "let him come to you," many assume it means doing nothing, sitting quietly, waiting passively. But my friends, that is not the message at all. Letting him come to you does not mean you stop living your life. It does not mean you sit in a corner hoping someone will magically appear. It does not mean you freeze your growth, your dreams, your goals, just because someone hasn't made a move yet. Letting him come to you means shifting your focus from pursuing someone to becoming someone worth pursuing. It means is putting your energy where it actually matters, into yourself, into your mind, into your habits, into your growth. Because the more you elevate yourself, the more you naturally attract the right people toward you, not through force, but through your presence. Imagine a candle. A candle never chases darkness. It simply shines. And because it shines, everything else comes toward it. Moths, people, warmth, light. That is what you must become. When you focus on your inner brightness, your outer world begins to shift. People notice. People feel drawn. People come closer not because you begged them to, but because your energy became irresistible. When you stop chasing someone, your mind becomes free. Free to grow, free to heal, free to become stronger, wiser, calmer. Suddenly, you're not checking your phone every 5 minutes. You're not obsessing over replies. You're not measuring your worth based on someone's attention. Instead, you're building yourself, and a person who is building themselves has a glow that no one can ignore. But here's what happens when you shift the focus to yourself. The anxiety fades. The desperation dissolves. The pressure disappears. You're no longer sitting there thinking, why isn't he texting? Or is he losing interest? You're too busy improving your life. And ironically, that is the exact moment people start becoming curious about you. When someone sees you growing, learning, becoming emotionally and mentally stronger, they feel inspired. They feel intrigued. They start wondering about you. They start wanting to be part of your world. You become a mystery, not because you tried to be one, but because you finally stopped giving all your energy away. This is the difference between passive waiting and powerful patience. Passive waiting means doing nothing and hoping someone chooses you. Powerful patience means working on yourself while trusting that the right person will step forward at the right time. And let me tell you something important. Focusing on yourself does not push the right person away. It only pushes away the wrong ones. The ones who are attracted to your availability, not your value. The ones who like that you were always there, always chasing, always trying. When you stop giving them that energy, they fade because they were taking from you, not giving to you. But the right person, they admire your growth. They respect your priorities. They feel proud of your self-improvement. They are not threatened by your independence. They are attracted to it. They don't want someone who relies on them for happiness. They want someone who brings happiness into the relationship. Working on yourself means strengthening the qualities that make you truly magnetic. Your confidence, your emotional balance, your clarity, your purpose. When you grow in these areas, you don't need to chase anyone. People feel your energy. They sense your maturity. They feel safe around you. They feel inspired by you. And someone who is meant for you will naturally take steps forward. When you're focused on your growth, your energy shifts from I need someone to I'm becoming someone. And that shift is powerful. You stop trying to prove your worth. You already know your worth. You stop begging for attention. You start attracting attention. You stop running behind someone. You stand still with dignity and let them walk toward you if they wish to be part of the life you're building. So don't wait in silence doing nothing. Grow in silence doing everything. Read more. Heal your heart. Work on your fitness. Strengthen your mindset. Build your career. Find your purpose. Improve your habits. Make your life beautiful. Because the more beautiful your inner world becomes, the more aligned the people who come into your outer world will be. Let him come to you, but let him come to the best version of you. Not the anxious version, not the insecure version, not the version that chases, Let him come to the version of you who knows their worth and is not afraid to stand alone until the right person steps forward with truth and consistency. When you grow, you attract. When you chase, you repel. So choose growth. And let the right person come to you, not out of pressure, but out of genuine desire. When you spend your days trying to impress someone, trying to win someone's approval, trying to be good enough in someone else's eyes, you slowly start losing yourself. You bend your voice, your personality, your priorities, your dreams, just to fit into someone else's expectations. But my friend's life becomes incredibly peaceful the moment you stop chasing approval and start chasing growth. And approval is temporary. Growth is permanent. Approval depends on others. Growth depends on you. Approval changes with moods. Growth changes your life. So many people wake up each morning thinking, what should I say so he likes me? What should I post so he notices? What should I do so he doesn't lose interest? My friends, this mindset traps you. It places your entire worth in someone else's hands. And when your worth depends on someone else's attention, you become a prisoner of their validation. But the moment you shift your focus from, I hope he likes me, to, I'm working on becoming a better version of myself, everything changes. Your energy changes, your confidence rises, your presence becomes powerful. You stop living for someone else and you start living for yourself. And people notice this. They feel the shift. They sense the strength because growth creates an inner glow that approval can never give you. Think about a person who constantly seeks validation. They always ask, do you like me? Are you upset with me? Did I do something wrong? Are you losing interest? This energy feels heavy. It feels needy. It feels insecure because their happiness depends on how someone responds to them. But now imagine a person who is focused on growth. They work on their emotional strength. They build meaningful habits. They invest in their skills. They improve their mindset. They pursue goals. They live with purpose. This energy feels inspiring, uplifting, attractive, powerful, because the most magnetic people in the world are those who are constantly evolving. When you grow, your world expands, your confidence expands, your opportunities expand, and suddenly you no longer feel the need to compete for attention because your life is already moving in such a beautiful direction that you don't have time to chase shadows. You're too busy becoming someone extraordinary. Growth also protects you. When you focus on becoming better, you start realizing that not everyone deserves access to your life. You begin to see clearly who is supporting you and who is draining you. You stop tolerating half-hearted efforts, inconsistent behavior, and confusing intentions. You outgrow people who were only meant for a version of you that didn't know its own worth. And here's the truth. People are naturally drawn to those who are growing. Why? Because growth creates stability. It creates alignment. It creates peace. When you invest in your healing, you stop acting out of wounds. When you invest in your goals, you stop wasting energy on distractions. When you invest in your discipline, you become dependable and trustworthy. All these qualities make someone come toward you, not because you begged for attention, but because your energy commands respect. And the beautiful part is this: when you focus on growth, you stop fearing loss. Because you know someone who truly deserves, you will appreciate the life you are building. You know the right person won't be intimidated by your progress. They will be proud of it. You know real love doesn't require you to shrink. It allows you to expand. When you focus on growth, you attract connections that match your maturity, your peace, and your purpose. So, my friends, don't waste your life trying to impress someone